Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Jamie Hughes News. My name as always is Jamie Hughes and today I have an update for you guys about the opening weekend figures for The Incredibles 2, which have been pretty incredible. The Incredibles 2 opened this past weekend in the US and it already had a pretty big estimate for its opening weekend. It was estimated to make around 150 million at the box office, which that estimate alone would beat the previous record of Finding Dory, which was at 135 million. And obviously The Incredibles 2 beat both of those figures. It beat Finding Dory at 135. It beat its own estimation at 150. It actually made a whopping 180 million during its opening weekend at the box office, which I guess you can say is pretty incredible. I'm not doing it again, I promise guys, I'm not doing it again. But yes, a huge 180 million in its opening weekend. What is really interesting about that figure is that it was only really released, this movie, in the US this past weekend. It opened in a few other countries, but it doesn't really reach a global box office for another few weeks or so. It had its French premiere on the 17th of June, but it doesn't hit the rest of Europe until the 15th of July, and then after that it's kind of staggered. Its release is staggered for the next few weeks around Europe. So what is pretty cool about this is that it's going to have this pretty long dominant run in the US box office. I think the only other animated film that comes out in the next month or so is Hotel Transylvania 3, which, no disrespect to them, but I don't think it's going to knock The Incredibles off its momentum. I think it may slow it down a little bit, but it's not going to stop it dead in its tracks. There are a couple of big movies being released as well in the next month in the US. You have Fallen Kingdom and Ant-Man and the Wasp, but again, they're kind of different demographics. They're older movies, whereas The Incredibles is very much a family-friendly film that, you know, parents are gonna be happy to take their kids to. So it's gonna have this really, really big run in the US. Then when maybe it starts to slow down, it's gonna have a massive resurgence of numbers because it's gonna be released around the rest of the world and in Europe. So it's almost gonna keep building momentum and keep building momentum. And my question kind of is can it beat and can it become the highest grossing animated movie of all time and knock Frozen off its perch? Now, Frozen sits at the top of that list with a huge box office of 1.2 million. And I don't know, so there's something inside me, the way that Disney have kind of staggered this release of this movie, it's only going to keep building interest and keep all eyes on The Incredibles, and I think it could do it. I genuinely think The Incredibles 2 could become the highest grossing animated movie of all time. Now, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on that, as always, down in those comments below. And just to add to this story a little bit, I think it's a nice little fun addition to The Incredibles kind of really good box office run, is that obviously The Incredibles does fit into that whole of being a superhero film, so it's actually become the 5th highest grossing superhero movie of all time for its opening weekend. I think it was only beat by Black Panther, Age of Ultron, The Avengers, and the Avengers Infinity War. And it's also now the 6th highest grossing movie of 2018. That's just on its box office alone, its first weekend box office alone. So that's going to continue to grow and grow. And again, we don't know where it could reach. I don't think it's going to become #1 because I don't think anything is touching the Avengers for a long, long while. But it could become, you know, maybe 2nd or 3rd, and I think it could possibly sit there and see out the year, definitely in the top 5. So that is just a quick update for you guys on what's been going on with The Incredibles during its opening weekend at the US box office. I think it's a really, really impressive number that it's hit 180 million. As I said, do you guys think it can become the highest grossing animated movie of all time? Let me know your thoughts, as always, down in those comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. And if you did enjoy this video and you want to keep up to date with all the latest movie news and reviews, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the very next episode of the Jamie Hughes News. Ta-ra!